So now let's get into this. So in my previous live that I did, I answered a question from a guy. The live that I did was talking about texting and how you should wait. I always tell you guys, you should wait a minimum of 4 days between dates to ask a woman for another date. And that gives you the chance it gives, on her end of things, it gives her time to think about you, miss you, yada, yada, yada. But it also allows you as the guy to test to see where her temperament's at. Because a woman that is anxious and nervous and all this other stuff and has maybe had like a traumatic past, if you wait 4 days to contact her, she'll be all like, how could you do that? And blah, blah, blah. And you made me wait and this and that. And you don't want that, but you need to test for that. Whereas a woman that has a good head on her shoulders will reasonably think, you know what? A, it's early in the dating process. Maybe he had other dates, but also he could really be busy. I'm just happy that he hit me up for another date and let's go on the date. But you got to test for that kind of stuff. So this woman didn't respond well. And he said that she assumed that he was no longer interested and she was quite offended by the fact that he didn't text back and yada, yada, yada. And so I had told him basically that, that's why you wait the 4 days to test and see if she has what her reaction is. I said, if she has a good head on her shoulders and is confident and understanding, then she won't be bothered by it. But if she gets butthurt and acts all mad, that's a sign that she's potentially unstable. And then I said, I'm curious to hear what your damage control actions have been. At which point he said that he communicated to her that maybe there was a miscommunication and that they'd both be missing out if they didn't try to meet up again, yada, yada, yada. And then she said, I want to take some time out of dating, which we know correlates to I'm not really that interested in the first place, because women that are interested aren't trying to take any breaks in dating you at all, especially after a first date. Like, that's all BS excuses. But anyway, so he sends an update to that. And so he says, I've got a follow-up for you. She actually did text me immediately after the date, quote, get home safe and sound, mister. So the fact that she hit him back first was great. And then he said a few hours later, he said something like, I did miss, and then sleep well, X. By the way, guys, don't send X's and O's early on in your dating text. Like, for that first 3 months, let the X's and O's come from her. You doing it, it's way too much. And this is where you need to learn about what actions could you potentially be doing that are going to cause her to make it feel as though you're doing too much too soon, or you're putting out too much emotion, or you're making it where she's feeling forced to have to return these kind of compliments back to you. Like, you need to be the person that's more laid back and is showing your like to her through actions. Let her be the words person for those first 3 months. Because I'm telling you, when you say stuff, they're taking it in as 3 times more than you mean it. And it's causing them to feel like this is way too much too soon. It feels too forced. He's throwing all this emotion at me because he's saying all these things and I'm reading it like this. This is why women amongst themselves speak in passive language, because passive language, they're already going to read into the things 3 times more, which is why when a woman says to another woman, oh, I'm fine, they're reading it 3 times more. It's like, oh my gosh, she's had the worst day ever. So you saying to her, I had a great time too, sweetie. She's thinking, oh my God, sweetie, is he already trying to boot me up? Like, I'm not there yet. So leave the verbiage to her. Anyway, so he says, after that, I didn't get back to her until 3 days later. I ended up getting the message that I just told you guys that I mentioned. And she said that she wasn't sure if I was interested because I took so long to get back to her. Now, I want you to think rationally about that, right? She's thinking he must not be interested because he took too long to get back to her. When he got back to her, what was the first thing that he asked? He asked her to go on another date. Asking somebody on a date is showing interest. The action of doing that should indicate to her that there's an interest there, regardless of how long he waited. If he waited 2 weeks or a month, at the point where he reaches out and says, hey, let's go on another date, that implies interest. So her saying, I couldn't tell if you were interested, but he was saying, I want to take you on a date. I don't know how much more interest to show than that. And again, for you, guy, early on in the dating process, you don't owe her a lot of conversation. So for her to already assume, like, after that first date, you should be texting back and forth and all this yada, 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 that indicates on her end that she's probably had some kind of bad situations in the past, some kind of trauma to where she has an overly anxious attachment style. And it's showing itself off early on by her being extremely hurt that we're after that first date. I mean, you text me that you want me to sleep well, but then I didn't hear from you. What's going on? Oh my God. Like, already bad vibes, right? So then he says, however, there was another reason and this reason may be of further interest and worthy of a video reply, which we're doing now. She said that in the days between, she had 2 exes pop back up and message her, and that she wants to be alone at the moment to process everything going on. Pause. I have questions. My main question is this: how did her exes get in contact with her? Like, ideally, if they're an ex, she's blocking them on her phone. So unless both of these exes just happen to text her from another phone altogether, I don't see how they would have reached out to her. So that means on some level, not that she was necessarily purposely leaving the door open to get texted by the exes, but she didn't put any precaution in place to make sure that didn't happen, okay? On top of her being so devastated and distraught that she heard from 2 exes that it's just thrown her world into a tizzy, and now she can't talk to this other guy because, oh my God. And I've said this on the show before. I've been in situations where I've dated women who were divorced, who had their exes hitting them up constantly during the process of trying to figure all that stuff out. I've been with women who just went through a bad breakup. I've been with women who are experiencing deaths in the family. I've experienced women that just have an overbearing work schedule. In all these situations, these women had legit reasons to be stressed out. And they would come to me and be like, no, I want to still spend time with you because I'm the excuse for them to get away from their stress, to not have to focus on it, and to have a good time. Women that have high interest in you, interest cuts everything. Dr. Love, you said, rest in peace. Interest cuts everything. If she has a high interest in you, no amount of crap going on in her life is going to hold her back from being able to see you unless she's just not there. Now, this guy only had 1 date with her, so realistically, there hasn't been enough time built in to where she would have built up that kind of like, to where it's very easy for her to be able to say, I'm just kind of flaky on how I feel about him. So, trauma, these exes hit me up and now I'm distraught. And as I said earlier on in the broadcast, women know men enough to know the things they need to say to hit our logical brain. So we'll be able to say things like, well, that sounds like a reasonable excuse. So it's not me. It's just she has a lot of stuff going on. And we won't question it. Meanwhile, if she has the hottest of 10s, richest of guys, hit her up in her DMs tomorrow and be like, hey, what you up to? Or not even have to be rich, just a guy that she just finds exceedingly handsome and always had a crush on, best believe she'd get over those exes real quick and be able to be like, well, I got a few hours to spend with you. So you got to learn to let go of your ego and stop thinking that you're the best thing since sliced bread. Because the reality is, even if you think you're so great, women that you're dating, sometimes it just won't gel with them that you're that great. They might think he's okay, but this other guy's better, or he's okay, but I'm not feeling him on the level of wanting to go out with him. And then you got to realize women don't want to be confrontational, so they'll just give some BS excuse and hope that you believe it, so you'll go away. But this is all passive language. Oh, I'm not, you took so long, and I'm not sure how I feel now, and I just need time to myself. That's all her passive way of communicating to you that she's not interested, because the end result is the same. Whether she had trauma going on, whether she got extremely busy, the result is the same, which is she's not trying to spend time with you or make an excuse to spend time with you. Therefore, you're out. It doesn't matter what her reasoning is. The result is you don't get to see her. So anyway, she says from some of the things she said on her date, she said she has no interest in any of her exes, but I get the feeling she still gets a bit emotionally thrown when they reappear for whatever reason. Let's say that's true. That means this is not an emotionally stable woman, because right now, if she's hypothetically not quite over both of her exes, then yeah, you're not going to be able to win at that, and you're still out, Continuing, he says, she also let me know on the date that she found out she had a stalker. So, this girl's got a lot going on. So even just the drama level alone at this point, I'd be like, you know what? Go handle that. I'm out. He says, so my feeling is she's doing the I can't handle any men right now thing. In her message, she was quite glowing about the date and said this wasn't an issue between her and I. But it is an issue between like her and her feelings for you, of which they are quite low. Because, and this is the thing, and they teach us this, and I did sales for a long time. This is how they teach you how to it's like the whole good news, bad news, good news. You give a compliment, hey, you're such a great guy. Then you give the bad news. Oh, but I just don't think I can see you now because I can't handle men right now. And there's always stuff going with my exes and my stalker, this and that. And then you sandwich it again with good news. But I had a really good time on the date and you're really a great guy. She literally did this whole program. But the end result is now in her head, I hope that's going to keep him away from asking me out anymore, because right now, for whatever reason, I'm not feeling it. Now, if he leaves her alone, she could change her mind. She could be like, you know what? It's been a couple of weeks and I actually do miss that guy. I want to go out with him again. But you can't bank your whole interest in her on that. Like, you can't assume that that's what's going to happen. As a guy, you have to learn to look at what's actually happening in front of you in the moment. So you can't say, well, she's not feeling guys now, but I'll still try to be her friend and I'll stick around because in about 3 weeks or so, when she's over it, she's going to want to date me. No, in the moment she's saying, I'm not interested. She's saying, I can't handle you right now. She's saying that, oh, you text me 4 days after our date, so now I don't know how you like me, so I don't know how I feel. You got to take that at face value and say, okay, well, then whatever. And then so anyway, he says, I told her to get back to me when she's ready, which is kind of a Corey Wayne thing. I am not sure if you would have advised that. I like Corey Wayne stuff. I watch his videos every morning still to this day. And so I would say that, yeah, realistically, what you don't want to do is this. You don't want to do the thing that most guys do, which is give the butthurt response of, well, but we had such a good thing going, and how could you do this? You swore and blah, blah, this and that. No. Because the thing is, sometimes women do need time. And sometimes you'll go out with the woman, you'll show the best time you can, and then she'll say, like, I'm not feeling it right now, whatever. But if you leave the door open and just say, hey, you know what? That's totally cool. You know what? I would phrase it like this. I would say, hey, you know what? That's great. Get back to me later on. If I'm still available, then we can link up. And that lets her know that I'm not going to wait around for her, because I am going to be, chasing other potentials out there. But that on the off chance that there's a break in my schedule and that maybe I'm not serious with somebody yet and she comes back, if I decide to entertain it, sure, why not? And I've had that happen where it's like, I've literally had where like I've hooked up with women for a little bit and then they're like, oh, I'm not feeling it now, whatever. And I'll just be like, all right, cool. And then like a few months later, hey, what's going on? Oh, we can hook up again. And so you never know if that's going to be a thing. But the thing is, if you just leave it where it's like on really bad terms and you're going to just feel like you hurt my feelings and you're just using guys and yada, 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 then you'll never be able to experience that. And sometimes the women come back later and realize like maybe they had some stuff going on. Maybe she legit is like really afraid of this stalker and wants to just stay in her home for a few weeks while she figures out the stalker situation. Or maybe she really is legitimately crying about her exes to where she knows she has work to do on herself to get over that. Okay, fine. Give her that grace and say, if you need to handle all that stuff, it is what it is. Hey, again, if you want to hit me up later and I'm still available, we can see what's what. And you never know if that could turn into something great if you leave it on butthurt, feelings and stuff. He says, I get the feeling that she is actually interested in me and that her response about this being about confusion was actually genuine due to the depth of the message reply. Well, again, right now, it's all smoke and mirrors. And even then, you're trying to say, well, I think she's still actually interested. If in the moment she had a high interest in you, you'd be going out with her on another date. That's just the reality. So right now, based on the signal she's giving you, the interest there, if it is there, it's very, very, very low. I want you guys to chase after women that are like enthusiastic about the fact that you hit them up at any time to ask them for a date. So while this is great, right now, she goes on the back burner. I would say don't call her, don't text her. Oh, this is kind of stuff Corey Wayne would say. Like, yeah, until she comes back to you and says, hey, so-and-so, what's going on? Like, you have no more reason to reach out to this woman. Like, you can spend your time and energy now focusing on other women that would have a higher interest and that would actually be happy to go out with you. If you need help, though, on what those steps should actually be in the course of that first 3 months to really help build her attraction faster and to better solidify her feelings, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and sign up for the Introvert Dating Success Membership Academy. You get a 2-day free trial just for signing up, so definitely check it out, all right?
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high